I want to give everyone a brief description on what this Forsyth County Small Business Relief Grant is, and then we're going to walk through the application so that all the businesses can have all of the paperwork ready to go before they start the application process. So this Forsyth County Small Business Relief Grant, we have around $10 million coming from the Forsyth County distribution of the CARES Act and the City of Cumming's distribution of the CARES Act. And these funds have been allotted to be given out to the small businesses with a few requirements. The number one requirement being that you must be a business within the boundaries of Forsyth County or the boundaries of the City of Cumming. And you must also have an active business license as of March 1st, either with the Forsyth County government or the City of Cumming. A lot of people have been asking why the Forsyth County Chamber has been put in charge of the distribution of these funds. It is because we have the staff and the resources available in order to get this out to our businesses as quickly as possible. You do not have to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce, though, in order to qualify for this grant program. You do not get preferential treatment if you are a member of the Chamber for the grant program. This program is 100% first come, first serve. And so we are looking to give out as much money as possible. There is an independent oversight committee with 2 representatives appointed by the City of Cumming and 5 representatives representing each district from the Forsyth County Commissioners. And this independent oversight committee will make sure that there is no bias as far as the applications are concerned. So again, you do not have to be a member of the Forsyth County Chamber in order to qualify for this program. This money is going to be very similar in some ways to the PPP process, but very different in one very key way. There is no forgiveness option for this grant program. This money is free money to businesses as long as you meet the requirements of the application. There is no payback and there is no forgiveness portion of the program. This money is going to be reimbursable of expenses that your business has already faced throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. So you can use this money to cover payroll costs, you can use it to cover rent and utilities, you can use it to cover mortgage payments, you can use it to cover PPE that you have had to buy your employees, and this money can also be forward projected. So if you reach a certain tier of the grant program, you can also project ahead and use this money to cover your mortgage, rent, utilities, and payroll up until December 31st of 2020. So keep that in mind, dependent upon where your business falls and what tier your business qualifies for a certain amount of money. If you do not have enough expenses over the last 4 months, you can be forward projecting with this money, and I'll go into a little bit more detail as we carry on with the program. So there are a certain limiting qualifications. Number one, in which your business must be within the boundaries of Forsyth County. You must have an active business license. You must have been in business March 1st, 2019. And you must represent that your business has been impacted in some way negatively by COVID-19. The tier in which your business qualifies is 100% based on the number of employees in the business. We do not have any difference between part-time employees and full-time employees. So if you have 6 part-time employees in your business and you have 6 full-time employees, you count your business and you fall into the tier for 12 employees within the business. So keep that in mind. The forms that we are requiring to show documentation on number of employees will be the 941 and the W-3. And since these forms do not distinguish between part-time and full-time, we do not either. So however many employees you have actively in your business before February 15th, 2020. So we're trying to get businesses back to where you were before the pandemic, before COVID-19. So show the documentation on where you were before February 15th, 2020, and that is what we will base your number of employees to put you into a certain tier on how much money you qualify for in this program. For other disqualifying factors for certain businesses, you cannot be a corporate-owned franchise. You cannot be have any legal actions actively against the county, the city, or the state. You cannot have any code enforcement violations, and um, you must certify that you will follow all COVID-19 guidelines in order to qualify for this program as well. And I'm going to go through each of these in a little bit bigger of a screen so you can see it a little bit better. So the first page of the application, it is going to ask for you to put a check mark next to each one of these qualifying factors. If you do not put a check mark next to one of these qualifying factors, your application will automatically be denied. So if unfortunately right now your business does not fit these qualifying factors, you will not qualify for the grant. So if there are any questions about this, please let me know. We'll be doing a Q&A at the end of the program. Right. The next page of the application will just be basic information about your business that will be found on your W-9 tax form. This will be basic business name, tax ID number. If you're a sole proprietor, social security number will suffice. The most important piece of documentation on this page, though, is your business email address. If we have any issues with your application, we will reach out to you via whatever email address you put in here as your primary email address. So please make sure that you put an email address that you will actually check. If there is an error with your documents, you will have 72 hours or until August 19th, whichever one of these comes sooner, to fix your application. Like I said, these applications are 100% based on a first come, first served basis. So if you do not have all of your required documentation together, please make sure you get it before you start the application process. There is no added benefit to start an application to get yourself into the queue, but to put wrong information, because every time we have to go in and make a change, it automatically puts your application at the bottom of the stack. So please make sure you have everything prepared before you start the application process. And if you have any questions about this information, please make sure to ask it at the end in the Q&A. On the next page, it'll give you again a breakdown on the eligible expenses that you can be reimbursed through this grant program with. The majority of people we have seen are using it to cover mortgage, rent, utilities, and payroll. But just keep in mind, whatever you use it for, if your business did accept PPP or EIDL, you cannot use this money for the same expenses that PPP is covering. Now, what that is not saying is if you used PPP to cover your payroll for April, May, and a week into June to get you to that 8 weeks that it was covering, you can use this grant money to cover payroll. You just cannot use it to cover the same payroll period. So you cannot use this to cover April, May, and June payroll, but you can use it to cover July, August, and October payroll. So just keep in mind that you cannot use it for the exact same expense that a different federally backed program is already covering. We will ask you to give a short, very brief description on what you are going to be using the money for, and please keep this as brief as possible because our staff will have to review these applications. So we do not need you to go into detail about why you're choosing to cover it in this certain area. Just say, I am using this money to cover June, July rent, or I'm using this money to cover August and October payroll, or I spent $10,000 on PPE for my employees. Anything that you are looking to be reimbursed for from the grant, just put it there, but be as brief as possible, please. The next is we are going to ask you to select which grant tier your business qualifies for. And again, this is 100% based on the number of employees that you had before February 15th, 2020. So wherever you were at before the COVID-19 pandemic is what we are going to recognize your business as. So if you're a sole proprietor, you'll select the one option, and your business will be eligible for a $2,000 grant. If you're between 2 and 5, you'll be eligible for $5,000. 6 to 25, 7,500, and over 25 employees, you will be eligible for the full $10,000. And again, part-time employees and full-time employees all count as employees. So use whatever will show up on your 941 or your W-3 for how you W-2'd your employees for last year. Right. We're going to go over the documentation that we will be requiring. If you applied for PPP through your business, this documentation will be very familiar to you, and you should already have it saved in a file for easy upload on your computer. We will need a valid copy of every business owner's driver's license. So please make sure that you have this available. And as much as we want to see your dog, if you accidentally submit a picture of your dog instead of a driver's license, it will put your application at the bottom of the stack. So please just make sure that we do have valid information for your business. We will need a copy of your Forsyth County or City of Cumming business license. Now, you must have already had a business license before the pandemic, so you cannot go out today, pay for a business license, and be eligible for the grant. So please keep that in mind, that you must have an active business license with the City of Cumming or Forsyth County government. And then we will need the receipts or invoices on what you are asking to be reimbursed for. So if you are trying to be reimbursed for rent or mortgage payments, just show us a receipt or an invoice on how you pay your rent or mortgage payments. People have also been asking if I'm allowed to do projected up until December 31st, 2020 on these rent, mortgage payments, utility payments, and payroll expenses. How do I do that? Show us one copy of your rent and mortgage payments, and then say, I'm also going to use this to cover forward-looking months for August, September, November, October, November, December. You are welcome to do that as well. I know that you don't have an active receipt for those months to cover the rent, mortgage, and utilities, but if you show us a past receipt that you do have, we will allow that to be forward projected to cover future expenses for your business. It will not allow you to submit your application if you have not uploaded all of the documentation. And our application portal is not big enough to have a whole bunch of businesses with partial applications in it. So please make sure that you have all of the required documentation ready to go before you start your application. As you start your application, before it even gets there, there will be a screen that lists what the required documentation is. Please just double check and make sure that you do have an easy to find place on your computer so that you can easily upload it and be in and out of our portal in just less than a couple of minutes. The only slot that is not required for documentation will be the W-3 or 941, and the only reason it is not is because sole proprietors and independent contractors do not have this option. In this option, you will have to submit a certification letter saying that you are a sole proprietor and you do not have any employees within the business. Okay. And then I'm going to go back. There is a itemized summary of your eligible expenses for COVID-19. I'm going to show you very briefly at the end of this what we mean by that. Right? And the last page of the application, it just will have you sign and date and says if you come under audit for any of these expenses that you will comply with whatever authority is requesting you to prove how you spent the grant money. All right, and this is what I mean for a sample of the itemized reimbursement expenses. Just a simple Excel spreadsheet, and all it will say is rent for the month of August, October, November payroll, blah, blah, blah. Just make sure that whatever tier your business falls into and whatever grant amount that your business qualifies for, please make sure that you submit enough receipts and invoices and include it in the summary to reach the maximum of the grant amount. If your business qualifies for $5,000 and you only submit enough reimbursable receipts for $3,000, we will have to lower your grant amount. So please just make sure that whatever receipts that you submit with us, that it totals up to the total grant amount for your business. Okay. With that, I am going to open it up for Q&A. If you could type any questions into the chat. We have a couple of people that have joined by phone. And I will give you a chance if you wish to voice a question in just a couple of minutes. All right. So Yuri, you registered your business in Gwinnett County back in 2000 and have been active since then. You moved my home-based business to Forsyth County back in October of 2019. You've been registered in Forsyth, but I am active with and paid my annual dues to Secretary of State. Am I still qualified? Did you have an active business license, Yuri, before March 1st, 2020? As Okay, as long as you had an active Forsyth County business license or City of Cumming business license before March 1st, 2020, and you were in business and it can show that you were actively in business before March 1st, 2019, then yes, you still qualify for the grant, right? And David's question is, can I please share the web address? It will be forsythcountycares.com. And so, Yuri, you're saying that I missed the point of your question. You moved your business here in October of 2019, and you registered your business in Forsyth County. Okay. As long as you had a Forsyth County or City of Cumming business license in if you did not register your business and you do not have a business license in Forsyth County or the City of Cumming, you do not qualify for the grant program. If you had an active business license before March 1st, 2020, and you could show that your business was active March 1st, 2019, then you qualify for the grant. If you do not have an active business license before March 1st, you do not qualify for the grant. And for Bob, how are contract labors counted? My contract labor work regular hours every week. How are they treated as an employee? Do you 1099 these contract workers, Bob? If you 1099 them, they do not count. They count towards submitted receipts, but they do not count towards your employee count because they are eligible to apply for the grant themselves if they're an independent contractor. You can use them as a reimbursable expense, but not count them towards your active employee count. Absolutely. All right, and someone is asking that they cannot find the application on the website. If you go to the very top of the website, there will be a button that says how to apply. If you click that and scroll all the way to the bottom, we put it all the way at the bottom because in order to get to the bottom, you will have to pass all of the documentation showing you what the required documents are. It's because we want businesses to make sure that they have all the required documents before they start. But if you go all the way to the bottom of the how to apply page, you will then find the link to fill out an application. And I'm going to open it up. If anyone that happened to call in, if you wanted to unmute yourself and ask a question, you are welcome to do that. Right? And I'm going to get to Terry's question. You purchased a practice from a colleague that had been in business in Forsyth since 2008. Our purchase was not completed until March of this year. Therefore, as the new owner, my business license was issued after March 1st. Sounds like this disqualifies our practice. Terry, do you have a copy of the 2019 business license? If you have that, and it was an active business within Forsyth County March 1st, 2019, then you should qualify if you have the copy of the 2019 business license. Then yes. All right, and Yuri's question, I have never had a business license in Forsyth County. My business has been registered with the state of Georgia, but not physically. You must have had a business license in Forsyth County, Yuri, and I do apologize for it. But it's the number one qualifier for the grant program is you must have had a business license. Is there a percent of lost income needed to qualify? No, Glenda, there is not a percent. You just must be able to disclose that you were negatively impacted in some way by COVID-19. So either you had to shut your doors for the 2 week period, you've had some lost income, of course, is a qualifying factor. You've had to buy protective equipment for your employees. Any of these are qualifying factors that most all businesses within the county have faced. But if you have a specific question, I'll be about whether or not something will qualify, please let me know. Yeah, so yes, that's if your income is down, even a little bit, that qualifies your business and you could submit for this grant program. So, all right. Do we have any more questions from any other businesses on the call? All right. If you have any questions, I will encourage you to please, and I'm going to bring it up here on the screen. We have an email address with our staff to answer any of these questions. It is support@forsythcountycares.com. There is, if you go to the forsythcountycares.com website, there is a chat option where we have staff that are monitoring to answer your questions in real time. And if you would like a copy of the presentation, absolutely, David. There will be a recorded version of this webinar on the forsythcountycares.com website as well. And I please just want to encourage that we are trying to give as much of this money away to any business that qualifies within the county, and we do not want to keep it some sort of secret. You do not have to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce to qualify for this program. So please, if you know of any business within the county, please just make sure that they know about this program so that we can help out as many businesses as possible. If they have any questions, of course, they can reach out to us. They can watch the recorded version of this webinar. We have multiple versions. We have multiple continued webinars for the next couple of days to walk as many businesses through this program as possible. So please make sure that you share it, and we will be happy to help anybody that we possibly can. And David, as well, all of the documents that I have gone through are also available on the forsythcountycares.com website. There's a sample application, there's another walkthrough, there's all the required documentation before you get started. Everything that I have shown you today is on forsythcountycares.com. All right. If there are no more questions, I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. I hope that we qualify as many businesses as possible. And we're looking to give away as much of the money as possible. All right. And Yuri, if you are about to start a business, you must have already had a business license with the county March 1st, 2020. So we've had a couple of businesses that have tried to go out this morning and purchase a business license. It unfortunately is a disqualifying factor. You must have already had a business license before the COVID-19 pandemic. All right. And if there are no more questions, I want to thank everyone again. And if you need any help, please reach out to us. There are multiple different ways. You can email us, you can direct chat us. So please let us know how we can help in any way possible. Thank you.